Hey guys, we're here to talk about episode 2 of season 6 of New Girl. It got a little political tonight, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I love that. The intro's awesome.
Is this like an extended version?
They don't play this on the show.
Yeah.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey.
We're here to talk about this political episode here. It was very interesting, very fun. I'm Nasta. You can find me on Twitter at Nasta, and this is James A. Janisse. And where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter, on Instagram at James A. Janisse, and on YouTube at Practical Folks.
Oh, love it, love it. So a lot to talk about tonight. So first of all, we start off with the bet. So obviously we see, Jess is she's like, I can do this, I've got this. And Schmidt's like, no, you don't. What were your thoughts on that? Did you think she was going to win initially?
Oh, no, of course not. Because, it's a classic sitcom premise is to have a bet. And it's like the protagonist never wins it.
Yeah, this is very true.
Because they would end, being too high up,
That's true. And Schmidt does always tend to get things right. So he called it. But
this is, I wasn't here last week, but Schmidt is, I love Schmidt so much.
Yes.
I feel such a connection to him on a deep spiritual level. So anything that Schmidt does, except I'm not a conservative Republican, but I just love him so much.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. Anytime, anything that comes out of his mouth, any of his facial expressions, I'm like, can I just hang around you all day and just watch what you do? I just feel like he's so entertaining. But that's awesome. What do you think that you really? What's your favorite part about Schmidt that really kind of connects you to?
Oh man, I love how prissy he is. It's so funny.
But yeah, very macho at the same time.
Yeah. That's what I love is that he blends feminine and masculine traits. It's really cool.
I love it. So obviously they Cece and Jess find themselves in the voting campaign office, which they kind of were a little bit bad at everything, right? So as soon as they walked in, what were your thoughts?
Oh, I feel like they just made such a bad first impression with Meredith from The Office.
Yes.
Mary Ellen?
Yes,
is that the actress's
it was
name?
Mary Ellen.
Yeah, and she was fun to have pop up.
Yeah.
As just the disgruntled campaign manager. I felt so bad for her when Jess lured her in with fake compassion and she started to open up oh, finally someone's listening to me, and then
she's like, nope, I just want to go get some voters.
Yeah.
I did like that. She was like, I'm Mary Ellen and I haven't felt anything in 5 months, and then she was just like, okay, thanks, and then they were like, yeah, I can't believe we did it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, poor Mary Ellen.
Yeah.
And then obviously we see the complete opposite when Schmidt comes into the campaign office.
Yeah.
And
I like that. I like that they established that Schmidt is not a Trump supporter. It's really funny because there's so many classic Republicans in this election who don't support Trump, and it makes perfect sense that he would be for Paul Ryan in 2020. That makes total sense. Did he say he's not voting? Is that what he did?
He was like, I just don't even know. And then obviously with Hillary, and that's why they were like, well, Winston, we're gonna vote for Winston for president.
Winston Bishop?
Yeah. I was like, hey, that sounds like a good name. And then when you go back to them at the house, they're all talking about organization and about the drawer. Did you see?
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, oh, Schmidt with the organization that only kicked us off to see how he was going to be in the campaign office.
Oh, I loved it.
I loved when he picked up the pen and he's like, I'm going to find a home for you. And he tried to walk away, yet didn't want to.
He almost made it out that door, but it's such a compulsion for him that despite it being for Hillary Clinton, it's just he sees a mess, he has to do it.
He has to fix the issue. And then he went to the envelopes and he was just organizing everything. I just love the little comments he makes, yes, this has to be here, this has to be there. And then
he called them lopes, envelopes, just shorthand.
He's like, can I just go back to the lopes after this? And then obviously he gets put onto the phones and he can't even get the words out of his mouth.
That cognitive dissonance. He's just Hubbedy Bubby.
I loved it. He's like, yes, we're gonna vote for Hubbedy Bubby. How would you feel in that situation? If you were Schmidt, because obviously you can really relate with him. Yes. Would you be able to say the words?
Oh man, I don't know. I guess I would have to put myself in the mind of the opposite, because that's how would I be able to call someone and be like, hey, vote for Donald Trump? And like, yeah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. He'd probably throw up before he could get the words out.
Yeah. And obviously we see Cece and Jess really are trying to get these votes. They have to get about 5 of them, right, to win. But when we go back, we see a little bit of action going with the long distance relationships.
Oh, yeah, there was that subplot.
Yeah. So with the whole Reagan thing, how do you feel about that? Do you think that it's actually going to work out? Because we didn't get to hear your opinion last time.
Yeah, no, there's no way it's going to survive this season. But I would like to see Megan Fox come back because despite, Zooey Deschanel's great, but those episodes where she was gone last season and we had Megan Fox instead, they were fine. They were just as good as any other episode.
I agree with you because I feel like when I did hear it at first, I was a little bit taken aback only because like New Girl has such a niche. It's such a distinct show with distinct characters. I thought bringing like Megan Fox in would throw things off and make it a little off-kiltered. Yeah. But I feel like she did kind of mesh in well, and it wasn't as like I wasn't thinking it was gonna be awful because obviously I love this show, but I was like, how can you have New Girl without Jess? Like I'm gonna I'd be depressed without her.
Yeah, I think it's because, the whole ensemble is so strong. Yeah. And, at this point, you have Cece that you can pair off with Schmidt now that they're, like, a real couple. Yeah. So, like, if this was, like, season 2 and Jess wasn't there, it'd be like, what can Cece do without Jess there?
That is true.
But the ensemble's so strong and just the writing's so strong, even just, like, random side characters. Like, last week, there was, like, the bank teller who thought she was going to rob him.
Like, that was... This is my family.
Yeah. Like, that was such a funny performance for, like, a 5-line character, and they do that over and over again. Yeah. So I guess that's why it was fine without Jess.
Yeah, agreed. But going back to Nick and Reagan's relationship, obviously they're doing the whole long distance thing, and we see Winston try to interject. Yeah. So how did you feel about this situation? Do you feel like Winston should have interjected where he did?
Oh yeah, man, bros helping bros. And I want to see the technical setup that he has where like the background is automatically keyed out. I didn't see a green screen in there. What's going on, Winston? What are your secrets?
See, I was actually really, when I was looking at it, because I watched it again, because I was like, I don't know how they did it. And then I realized, obviously, it's like, when you put your Apple computer up and then it puts you into the... That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, because at first I was thinking that too, because clearly in the back of him you're only seeing that part, but it's because that's all it was capturing, and it was just like in your iMovie or whatever, you're just pulling it up.
Yeah, I forgot that technology is advanced.
Right?
So, yeah.
I almost forget because I feel like I was like photo booth was like all the time, and then I just feel like we got so into like Snapchat and stuff that it's like went away. But getting back to Winston showing him the trick of the trade, I thought it was so funny because Nick, obviously we see him, he can be very like sexual, but he felt really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
What were you like?
Well, that's probably because it's such like a technology young person type thing to do.
Yes, you're right.
And Nick is nothing if not a 50-year-old man in a 30-year-old's body.
He said that before. He's like, I'm trapped in a younger body.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he also was like, so this is what the young kids are doing now?
Yeah. He's so curmudgeonly.
I loved it. But it was so great to like watch Winston take him through the steps, and then we see the crash and burn.
Yeah. Which like it's gonna happen, but it happened in such a fun way. Just the visual gag of them of like the asteroid being the sensor and then Winston coming in and like trying to that was good stuff.
It was great. I will say that was probably my favorite scene of the show from today. It was so great. But going back to Jess and Cece, so we see them, join the sorority or not join them, but they tried to get them to be voters. And when they knocked on the door, did you hear what Jess said? She's like, I feel like I was like staring at a bear. I couldn't move. Yeah. What did you think was going to happen as soon as she said that? Did you think that they were going to actually be able to go into the house?
Yeah. I figured they would make their way in. I had no idea what would go wrong.
Something had to.
Yeah. And the fake names makes total sense for a bunch of drunk sorority chicks.
We got Booze Girl, Jess becomes Booze Girl. It was awesome. But going throughout the sorority, I was expecting them to get a couple votes. I honestly thought they were gonna win. Yeah. So when they started saying the fake names, I was like, what?
Diarrhea Jones.
They had some pretty creative names, I will say. What was it? There was like Boobs McGee or something, or it was like...
Yeah, there was one about Cankles. I
can't remember now either because they were just spitting them off. They were so great.
Yeah, that's one of those things where like it's just New Girl does this a lot, where like the writers in the room definitely came up with a framework for jokes, and then we're like, guys, we can just pitch these all day.
Yes.
And so it's like, what fake names? Just bring them on.
I love it.
And so yeah, they just get to sit there and read fake names.
I seriously, all like the names, the inside jokes, all the silly lines that Schmidt always says, because we always have a favorite every episode. But I feel like they're just so like witty that you don't even understand, like, how did someone, like, especially with Schmidt's character, because he's so witty, you can't even think, like, how did you like think about it that fast and get that like out of your mouth? Because it was just like and it just comes out, but it's so great. But then obviously going and like them being on the couch when they were like, hey, do you want to sign up? And they were like, oh my god,
Cece, I haven't seen you.
Like, it's been forever. That was really funny. But also then she was like, you know, I thought it was really, what did you feel about how they kept relating this whole college thing? Obviously Cece was trying to get into college. They kept relating it back to like as if she was going to go back into college, even though she's going to classes, but she's not going to join a sorority, or she's not going to be going into a dorm. But what were your thoughts on how she was like, I just don't really want to go?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this comes up a lot on this show, is like characters trying to get a different character to do something that like is good or right for them when they don't really want to do it. And I mean, I don't know why Cece is what, in her mid-30s? I'm sure she doesn't want to go back to college.
And married now.
Yeah, like she's married, she's fine. So
yeah. I agree too, but I think also I think it's just funny because I feel like we've seen Cece go through so many like trials and tribulations of what she wants to do, and I feel like that's something that I thought maybe was gonna be in her path, considering she kept going like back and forth on it.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really interesting that she was like, obviously you kind of sensed it coming that she didn't want to go, but I was actually shocked that, hey, I didn't think she would actually be like, you know, this isn't something that I want to do.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, on the other hand, you could easily see a seasonal arc for her character being like at college and adjusting to that, like being an older like ex-model.
Yeah, like I want to get into this.
Yeah, so I am actually curious what her like
path is going to be from
here.
Exactly, because we saw her, you know, she got into broadcast journalism for like a very small stint. Yeah. She went to that audition when they were like preparing for their wedding. But so we see all that happen. But I am really interested to see like where we'll see Cece go next.
Yeah, and maybe it'll be something to do with the house. Maybe it'll be like,
you're right. Maybe she'll find a niche of like interior design or something. Yeah, which I mean, it's gonna be really hard to interject on Schmidt's like choices of the house.
That's a force of nature. Yeah,
that's just gonna happen. But I'll be like, and then honestly, they lost the bet, and obviously Schmidt wins like usual, and we see them come together, which is so great, just like friends. I feel like when they were walking down the street, and then we see them like kind of were like, oh my gosh, all the sorority girls are Trump supporters. They're like, Ivanka, I love her shoes. They're like, oh my gosh, how do we get rid of them? That was
just run away.
That's their solution. Just run. I feel like that's Jess's solution every time.
Yeah, she's a runner.
She is a runner. She's so great. So obviously for next episode, we kind of see, we haven't talked about the whole Jess and Nick situation again.
Yeah, that wasn't really brought up at all this episode.
So I'm really curious, do you think maybe we should get into some predictions?
Ooh.
Yeah, should we get into some predictions?
Yeah, maybe some sound effects.
Yeah. Maybe that will help us out. Okay. So obviously, I think there's two things, because this episode kind of had, I feel like it's good standalone. You know, it was all about the like politics and getting.
Were you surprised at how political it was?
I actually was. Yeah. Because I feel like on shows you don't necessarily see like a strict point of like not necessarily saying you don't like someone, but they kind of, I guess you could say, the sorority girls were the way to like stick up for Trump. But I feel like
they were kind of played for more like a joke.
Yeah.
And at first, when they started talking about it, I thought it would just be a fictional election.
Yeah.
Because that's another option that a show can take. True. But I guess New Girl is so in our world that they couldn't really do that. But like to just be so brazenly like Hillary, like all the sympathetic characters are the ones going hardcore.
Yeah, and then all of like the people that you said don't take seriously. I was actually very shocked about that too. I was thinking about that when I was watching. Like, wow, I don't think I've seen someone take such a stance.
Exactly. Yeah.
Of like what's clear to the audience.
Yeah, and I wonder like what the reaction to that is in like broader America.
In the brand scheme of things. Yeah, I don't know. We'll ask you guys, you know, and like make sure that you guys comment and everything, and we'll get back to you on that. But back to our predictions.
Okay, yeah, we did have the sound effects.
Yeah, we did. We're leaving everybody hanging. So obviously, like I said, we have got the Jess and Nick situation with, you know, he's dealing with long distance with Reagan. And then we have the house with Cece and Schmidt. And I feel like that's something that they have to kind of bring back into fruition to next episode.
Yeah.
So my predictions would be that maybe we see the long distance thing start to fizzle out even more. Like maybe Nick and Reagan finally have like a big collapse. Because we didn't get to really see like any sort of arc with them. They started talking on the phone and everything. But I don't know. I feel like Nick might just like let go of the long distance thing and we'll see it fizzle out next episode. And then I don't know what's going to happen with the house, but hopefully we'll bring it back into the picture and we'll see what's going to go in more of that.
My prediction is that we'll actually see Megan Fox maybe for just an episode, hopefully multiple, but like in this one we never saw or heard her. Like all the phone conversations were one-sided from Jake Johnson. And so I think she'll be back this season. And then the house, I could see being like a whole season, like a season-long thing. Like not just one episode where they fix it up, but like continuously running into problems with it. And then, you know, I'm just going to go right now and make a prediction for the end of the season.
Okay.
With pregnancy, like a little Schmidt-Cece baby. Because we had their scare back in season 1.
That is true.
Yeah, so, and I mean, how many more seasons does the show have in it? Like 6 is a lot.
That is true.
Yeah, and I love it. Yeah, I hope it go on forever. Long may it rain. But I feel like at this point, after 6 seasons, I could see a pregnancy thing being a plot. Yeah.
All right. I definitely agree with you on that. That's something that I think we might see. But yeah, well, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you subscribe, comment, tweet us, and we'll make sure to comment back. Thanks so much, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.